Fran. I'm from Oyala, so that color says.
Let him talk, I beg, Rudolph.
All right, one man. Ayo says you should talk.
All right. So thank you, Ayo, and thank you, Rudolph, for having me. I only really came on really because of Franklin, who I'm hopeful to address, and I hope I have the space to address him. And I want to ask you a question, Franklin, and I want you to address it. So I don't want to hear what Voltaire has to say. I don't want to hear what Jorgen Haberman or I'm asking you. You've already set the backdrop with all of the books you've used to line your backstage, so we know what you're projecting. So I'm asking you frontally, not Achebe, not Voltaire, not Confucius, you. So I'm painting you a scenario. Because really, what's led us to this space is a guy called Chinedu Rosevivor, and I only call him Chinedu Rosevivor because that was on his campaign poster when he wanted to be senator just as early as 2019. Anybody can Google it, you see it's all over the internet. So this conversation really comes into play because a guy called Chinedu Rosevivor, who cannot speak a lick of the Yoruba language, he is aspiring to be the governor of Lagos State. And that doesn't sit with the culture. It does not sit with the culture. Whether the rights and wrongs of it, we are Yoruba people and we're of a particular way. And it does not sit with the culture. The Nigerian constitution, whatever, it does not sit with the culture. That a person that cannot speak an ounce, a lick of the Yoruba word, but fluent, by the way, in Anambra dialect of Igbo, so it does not sit with the culture. So it does not sit with the culture. And, all of this pushback now that Lagos is no man's land, it's a narrative that comes from your quarters, and we have heard it endlessly, and we have heard it enough. So I think people conflate the Yoruba mild-mannered Omoluabi way as a form of weakness. And the biggest fool alive is the person that conflates the Yoruba mild-mannered ways, because we are I don't know if you know why we call ourselves Omoluabis. That's a civilized person. The Yoruba language is too nuanced to translate directly into English, but the sum total of the Omoluabi philosophy that underpins the Yoruba ideology is a civilized person. So don't conflate that civilized manner as weakness and then come into our space. We accommodate you. We give you the fat of the land to live fat. And then you tell us that our land is no man's land. Lagos is Yoruba land, though. It has an Oba who sits on the throne. Lagos is Yoruba land. So there has to be clarity on that. But the question I really wanted to ask you, Franklin, and like I said, I'm not asking Confucius or whoever, I'm asking you. So please don't philosophize and no straw man, you. So don't give me any straw man narrative. If an Igbo man called Muyiwa or Kafo wants to be the governor of your home state, wherever it is within that region, does not speak a word of Igbo, has all of his leanings and affiliations are is maternally Yoruba, paternally Igbo, Muyiwa or Kafo, who wants to be the governor of whichever state in the east, knowing, as we all know, how insular and clannish that region is, will he even get to the first step to buy a form? So that is to you, Franklin.
My brother, I will really push back because the questions you just bundle up a lot of overgeneralizations that are quite untenable, and then push them as a question. If you're asking me a question, you should have to come at me like an intelligent man, because that question at the tail end of it sounded less intelligent than I expected from you.
Well, yeah, address it nevertheless.
Listen, I gave you time to talk. Allow me to now address your question, because it's so very unnerving and annoying to address me this way. I am not a guy that you will just, so you can address the people so very clannish and insular. You know how insulting that is. That's the most stupid thing I've heard.
Is that not the general perception of the region? Is that not how people say that region?
I will choose, allow me to talk. I will choose not to answer your question. I can do that. You don't call a people. I spent a whole part of 4 hours here trying to make people realize how dangerous it is when you use certain words. And then you sat there to call my people, knowing how insular and clannish. What can be more stupid? What impudence? You stood before me to tell me that kind of rubbish, and you want me to take it lying low with you. What kind of nonsense is that? Is it because that we sit down and talk like Nigerians? I've been the guy, I've been an apostle of peace. And then you dare address me this way. You dare not do that with me. I am too intelligent for that. And then you are telling me to abjure myself, not to philosophize. Did you pay my school fees? You ask me a question, you tell me how to answer it. What impudence. Nigerians, you guys have a lot of effrontery on you. You don't do that kind of nonsense. At this age and level, before the whole world, you are addressing a man like me in such a manner. I have been respectful with everybody here today, but you dare not do that before me, or else I will wash you down, because I know I can do that. I'm capable of doing that.
well, you
yeah, you asked me a question, and then you remain quiet, and then stew in the misery, and then let me take your question for what it is. You asked me a question. Because a guy is named Chinedu, he could not speak. What are the constitutional provisions for becoming a governor in Nigeria? Did you ask yourself that question? And then a man like you is peddling this pettiness, this clannishness in the 21st century. Other countries are advancing, but your thing is, because it's our culture, he doesn't speak Yoruba. But his father is Yoruba. So he's no more. Do Yorubas inherit property from the maternal side? Is Yoruba land a matrilineal society? And then you are very proud to delegitimize a fellow human being because you say it's not our culture. Is it written anywhere in Nigerian's constitution, in Lagos constitution, that before you become a governor in Lagos, you must speak Yoruba? Is it a constitutional requirement? If it is not, why are you?
It is.
Why is it? I stand to be corrected. I don't know. If it is,
yeah, no, let me correct you then. It is instituted in the Lagos State statute books that Yoruba language is the second official language of that state, and it's the language of governance every Friday in the state parliament.
Okay.
So that is an understanding you don't have,
okay,
and more to it, probably Chinedu does not either.
Okay, thank you very much. Did the law say it is a requirement for becoming a governor of Lagos State?
Thank you for that.
I asked you a question. Did the law say, did this Lagos bylaw say is a constitutional requirement for one to become a governor of Lagos State that this person must speak Yoruba?
Well, I've already answered that. They conduct parliament in Yoruba language, so it's implicit.
You said
you must speak
language. That Yoruba language is too nuanced to be translated into English. Every language is too nuanced, and that's from my philosophical basis. Philosophy gave me that idea. Every language. That's why in Spanish they say that translators are traitors in every language, because languages are nuanced. So there is nowhere, even Lagos State bylaws doesn't supersede the Nigerian constitution. So, and it's not a constitutional requirement that somebody must speak a native language to become a governor of a state. Until you guys make that a law, I don't see anything constitutionally prohibiting this guy from vying for governorship. I am not saying that people should vote for him, but he has a right to be a governor. He has that right.
You've not addressed my question, though. I invited you to reverse it to your homestead and see and know your people as you know them.
I'm not afraid of questions. I deal with it every day of my life. I'm not afraid of it. So relax, my brother, and then listen to the answers. In my home state, if it happens, I don't care. What I care for is a man who is competent, who has the capacity to give good governance to my people, wherever they are. That's what matters to me. Where he comes from, who his father is, I don't give a hoot about that. It should not be playing a role in the 21st century of our considerations of who should govern us. Those who are my brothers that have governed my state, what have they achieved all this while? Those that are from my own neck of the woods that have governed Nigeria, where have that left us? Are we a first world nation? No, we are not. But we are still clinging to the same atavistic tendencies that left us where we are. Well, and then we are then proud of that. And then you will be so very proud of that stupidity that you will sit down here and call the people clannish and insular.
Well, that's the generally well-held perception. It's not news to you to hear them describe
It's not,
clannism.
it's
Am I
not news
saying
to me,
something you've not heard
that you
before?
hold this
Is it breaking
ignorant.
news to you
No,
that people
it's
consider the
not breaking
Southeast
news that you
clannish
hold
and
this
insular?
collectively
You know that
ignorant
as well as I
perception
do.
in
That's
the
the
21st
widely
century,
held
and
belief.
you are living in England says a lot about your personality and character. More than anything else, that an educated man like you holds such a perception. I should go and return my school fees because it's useless. I am sorry to tell you that. Rudolph, I'm out of this discussion.
All right. Thank you.
Well,
so
and there
much.
it is.
Rudolph,
Can